just to go ahead and look at this, is whenever you're factoring 4-term polynomials, you can use a method called grouping. And what grouping essentially is using GCF twice, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at an example of factoring polynomials with grouping, okay? So the first thing we do is we're going to group the first 2 terms together and the last 2 terms. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at x cubed plus 7x squared and 2x plus 14. Okay, those are what we're grouping together. So when we group the first 2, we're going to factor out a GCF. What is the GCF out of x cubed plus 7x squared? Yes, ma'am. What's the GCF there? X squared. Okay, so when we take out that GCF, we divide it out. So what is x cubed divided by x squared? Just x. What is 7x squared divided by x squared? 7. Okay, so that is what we get when we take out the GCF from the first part. Okay, now we're going to look at the second half of this, which is 2x plus 14. What is the GCF of 2x plus 14? 2. And it's positive 2. Okay, what is 2x divided by 2? X. What is 14 divided by 2? Now, what do you notice about these 2 pieces? What's happening inside there? What do you notice about that? They're the same. Okay, so what we can do is we can factor that common binomial out. So we're going to write the part that is the same. What part is the same? X plus 7. Then we're going to do a second set of parentheses, and we're going to put what's left over. What's left over outside the parentheses? X squared plus 2. So that right there is the fully factored form of what we started with. And we did that just by doing GCF twice. All right, so just like always, whenever we're factoring, you can always check that you factored correctly by redistributing everything. So let's do that real quick. What is x times x squared? X cubed. What is x times 2? 2x. What is 7 times x squared? 7x squared. And what is 7 times 2? 14. Now, this right here isn't currently in standard form. To put that right there in standard form, what 2 things would I need to swap? But if I swapped those, would it give me the same thing we started with? Yeah. So we did that correctly. Okay. Now remember, you do not have to check every time, but that's just something you can do to help you out if you're ever not sure if you did it right. But that is how we factor by grouping. Okay. Does that seem so bad? Not really. We're just doing GCF twice. Same thing as yesterday, just combining it. So now we're going to look at the evens together today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at question 2. So we're going to group first 2 terms and we're going to group last 2 terms. So when I group the first 2 terms, what is our GCF of a cubed plus 2a squared? A squared. And what will that leave us with? A plus 2. Okay, for the second half of this, what is our GCF of 9a plus 18? What can go into both 9 and 18? 9. It's positive 9. So what will that leave us with? What is 9a divided by 9? What is 18 divided by 9? 2. So what part is the same? A plus 2. And what is left over? A squared plus 9. So that is our fully factored form of that polynomial. All right, for number 4, we're going to group our first 2 terms, and we're going to group our last 2 terms. So when we group our first 2 terms, what is the GCF of p to the 5th minus 6p to the 3rd? P to the 3rd. Okay, what does that leave us with? P squared minus 6. Now, for the second half, okay, I want to go ahead and talk about something we always do. So if you notice what you're about to factor has a negative sign in the front, okay, you are going to automatically factor out a negative every time if it has a negative sign in front, okay? So the GCF between negative 2p squared and 12 is going to be negative, what's the GCF? Negative 2, okay? And so what will that leave us with? What is negative 2p squared divided by negative 2? P squared. What is 12 divided by negative 2? Negative 6. Okay, from here, what part is the same? And what part's left over? There we go. That is our fully factored form. Okay, question 6. We're going to group our first two terms, and we're going to group our last two terms. When we group our first two terms, what is our GCF? I heard 8. What else? A or AA squared? AA squared, because when we look at factoring out a variable, we will look at the variables and we're going to take whatever the variable with the smallest exponent is. So in this case, that is a squared. And what is that going to leave us with? What is 16a to the third divided by 8a squared give us? What is 16 divided by 8? What is a cubed divided by a squared? Okay, now, what is anything divided by itself? 1. So what is 8a squared divided by 8a squared? It's just 1. Okay, anything divided by itself is 1. What is 7 divided by 7? 1. What is 12 divided by 12? 1. What is a divided by a? 1. And we have to put that 1 there, so that way if we were to redistribute it, we would get what we started with. You have to put that 1 there. Now, for the second half, our first term is negative, so I need to take out a what? I'm going to have to take out a negative. What is the GCF between negative 6a and negative 3? 3 is divisible by 2? 3. We're going to take out a negative 3. So what is negative 6a divided by negative 3? 2a. What is negative 3 divided by negative 3? Plus 1. All right, now what part is the same? 2a plus 1. And what part's left over? 8a squared minus 3. All right, now we're going to go look at question 8. So we're going to group first two together. And we're going to group last two together. Okay, for when we group the first two, what is our GCF there? A squared. And what will that leave us with? A plus 1b, or just a plus b. Okay, for the second half, what is our GCF? Does both of these things have an A in them? Mm-mm. Do both of them have a B? Yes. Okay, what is the lowest exponent of b that they both have? 1. So we're just going to take out plus b. And what is that going to leave us with? A plus b. Now, what part of that is the same? A plus b. What part of that is left over? A squared plus b. So that is our fully factored form. So I want y'all to try that with questions 1 through 7. Now I will put this up here so you can check your answers. If you have a question on any of them, let me know and I will be happy to help you on it. Does anybody need help on question 1? Okay, what about question 3? Question 5?
Well, why don't you just say it was only x squared?
For question 5? Because the biggest number that can go into 3 and 21 is what? 3. And so whenever we're taking out the GCF, we have to do the biggest. Okay, otherwise we'll leave it in there and we'll have to factor it again. Because our goal is to get it written in the simplest possible factors. Any question on 7? All right. So the last thing we're going to do all together today is we're going to look at the bottom section. Okay, so are all polynomials written in standard form from the get-go? No. Okay, sometimes you have to rearrange them before you factor. And so that's what we have to do in that bottom section there. So we're going to do our evens together on that one too. So when we look at question 10, okay, question 10 is not written in standard form. So I want to put it in standard form. Standard form, we do alphabetical order with exponents from biggest to smallest. So what term needs to go first to write number 10 in alphabetical order? Negative u squared. What term would go next? Negative u. Okay, then we're going to do positive what? Then plus v. Part of the reason we need to do that is because does u and v have anything in common I could take out? No. Does u and v have anything in common I can take out? No. So when we rearrange it, we're rearranging it to get it so that we can actually factor it. Okay? Now, from here, we do the exact same thing we've been doing. So group the first two, group the last two. What is the GCF of negative u squared minus u? Negative u, because that right there is a negative. So we're going to take out a negative u. And what is that going to leave us with? U plus 1 is correct. Okay. Then we're going to look at the second half of this. When we look at the second half, what is the GCF of uv plus v? V. And when we take out a v, what does that leave us with? U plus 1. And so what part is the same in both? U plus 1. And what part's left over? Negative u plus v. So that is our answer. Okay. Now, we're going to do the same thing for number 12. Okay. For number 12, we're going to start same way. What needs to go first to put this in standard form? Negative 15a. What term needs to go next? Plus 10ab. Now, what term should we put next? Okay. I have a question, though. Whenever we look at this, is the b in the first term or the second term? Second term. So if I was to put the b in the first term here, would that make it so that they would line up? No, they wouldn't line up because they'd be in the wrong spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch the order of that. You almost never have to do that, okay? Which is why I wanted to do this together. The rest of them just go straight into standard form, okay? This one we have to swap because in order for it to match, the b's would have to be in the same spot, right? And so that is why we had to flip 21 and 14b.
So that's like never gonna happen.
You pretty much don't have to do that very often, only every now and then. Okay, so let's go ahead and group first two terms and last two terms. What is our GCF of the first two terms? It will be 5a, but it needs to be what? What is that negative? That first term is negative, so we're going to do negative 5a. Anytime the first term is negative, we pull out a negative, which will leave us with what?
3.
What is 10ab divided by negative 5a?
Negative 2.
Negative 2b. For the second half, what is our GCF of 21 and negative 14b? What is 21 divided by 7?
30.
What is negative 14b divided by 7?
Negative 2.
And so between those two, what part's the same?
3
3
negative 2.
minus 2b. What part's left over?
Negative 5a.
There we go. All right, I want y'all to go ahead and do 9 and 11. Put them in standard form first. And when you check those, that's what you should get. Okay, once you finish those 2 questions, we have some Delta Math practice that we're going to do for the rest of class. But other than that, y'all are good.